evening and welcome to the NDTV Dialogues, a conversation of ideas. Tonight's idea, teaching excellence. This year's Teachers' Day witnessed a rare media focus because of the Prime Minister's speech. But also, we take this opportunity to go back to the basics, to talk to 5 outstanding teachers on the key issue, the teaching of and teaching with excellence. Joining me tonight, Dr. Madhav Chavan of Pratham. I'm also joined by Mr. T.P. Singh, principal of a prominent government school in Delhi, Lata Vaidyanathan, veteran educationist, Professor Ashish Nanda, director of IIM Ahmedabad, formerly the Harvard Law School, and Anand Kumar, founder of Super 30. It's an unparalleled focus group, really tuition group, which trains poor children to get into IIT, and it has an unparalleled strike rate. Thank you all very much for joining me this evening. Dr. Madhav Chavan, I'll start with you because, in a sense, it was your work with adult literacy which I think sparked your interest really at going back to the basics, going back to children as they get into primary school, and your organization's Asset Survey has, in a sense, become a standard for us looking at learning outcomes and judging all the work, all the funding, all the effort that goes into primary education. What is the result we're getting from it? The latest survey was a wake-up call.
Well, for the last 9 years, we've been bringing out this survey, and broadly speaking, there are 3 numbers that matter. One is the enrollment rate has gone up from when we started out, it was about 93% to nearly 97%, meaning very few children are not enrolled in school, which is not to say they attend every day. The second figure is that only about 50% children can read second grade at 5th grade. If they are in 5th standard, they can barely read second grade, which is a tough one. That defines the productivity of the system. And the third number, which is related to mathematics, is that about 30% children in 5th grade can solve a simple division sum. And the alarming fact is that over the last 2-3 years, the learning outcomes have actually gone down after the Right to Education Act was implemented. So this is what we have been coming up with. Then there are minor details, well, minor to our survey, but major to the country. Now that the Prime Minister has talked about girls' toilets and toilets in the schools. So this has been a part of the agenda for a long time. What we find is the number of toilets is increasing, but the number of functional toilets is still poor. So it's not about constructing toilets, it's about providing water as well. So there you have it. There we have it. And in a sense, the other big figure, of course, is also that how the enrollment in private schools, even in rural areas, was going up as well. But Anand Kumarji, just to bring you in on that one aspect, even looking at how a class 5 student, mainly in government schools in many areas, can't solve a class 2 sum or can't read a class 2 text. You are actually training poor children to get into IITs. That's really the pinnacle for many children in India. The dream is to get into IIT. When you see कि हमारा education system, what is the impact, how does it work, what do you think?
बहुत दिक्कत होती है क्योंकि हमारे पास जो भी बच्चे आते हैं ऐसे अंडर प्रिविलेज फैमिली से आते हैं कि जो कि गवर्नमेंट स्कूल में जाते हैं, और हमने देखा है कि सभी बच्चे बताते हैं कि सर मैं जिस भी स्कूल में जाता हूँ टीचर तो आते नहीं है, खिड़की दरवाजे तक चोरी हो चुके हैं। तो वैसे हालात में बच्चे सेल्फ स्टडी करके, किसी से गांव में हेल्प लेके, थोड़ा बहुत अगल बगल ट्यूशन लेके किसी तरह से सरवाइव करके 10th पास करते हैं। तो हमारा जो मानना है कि टॉयलेट स्कूल में हो और ज़रूर हो, लेकिन उससे ज़्यादा फोकस हो कि अच्छे टीचर हो। इस पर अगर फोकस किया जाए तो सच में देश का भला होगा।
But और फिर भी these children come with so many disadvantages. फिर भी IIT में, how do they reach IIT with your institution? What do you think? What is the special quality?
यस, हम लोग देखते हैं कि बच्चे जो हैं उनमें ट्रेनिंग उनकी अच्छी नहीं है, बट उनमें वो जज्बा है, वो जुनून है, उनमें कुछ करने की तमन्ना है। तो वैसे बच्चों को जब हम पिक करते हैं और उन्हें पढ़ाने का प्रयास करते हैं और उनके साथ काम करते हैं और उनमें ये भावना भरने का प्रयास करते हैं कि तुम कर सकते हो, यू कैन डू, तो उनमें ये बातें आती हैं और वो अच्छा करते हैं। मेरा मानना है कि अगर सभी बच्चों को इक्वल एजुकेशन मिले, सबको एक समान शिक्षा मिले हमारे देश में, चाहे वो पब्लिक स्कूल हो, मॉडर्न स्कूल हो, चाहे गवर्नमेंट स्कूल हो, तो हमारे देश में जो भी टैलेंटेड स्टूडेंट हैं उनकी संख्याएं, उनके नंबर्स काफ़ी इंक्रीज करेंगे।
Quality of education. I want to bring in Mr. T.P. Singh here, principal of the Rajkiya Pratibha Vikas Vidyalaya, because Mr. Singh, too often the focus or the discourse in India is about private schools, or too often we look at modern school mein kya ho raha hai, is school mein kya ho raha hai, and government schools we may look at when a Pratham survey comes out or when there is a good topper from a government school, but usually we don't focus on it. Yet more than 80% of India's children are in these government schools. Why are they ignored or get the stepchild treatment?
This is a very interesting question. Actually, I have spent more than 3 decades in Directorate of Education, Government of NCT of Delhi, and I have worked in all category of schools. And in the present scenario, I was posted in one of the school in RK Puram. That was very challenging position among the bottom 100 school. And when I joined as a principal, I looked on 3 points: reasonable infrastructure, then qualified and trained teachers were already there. But I talk a lot about how to improve the things. Then a well-established system of monitoring of what has been transacted into a classroom is being monitored effectively by my personal involvement. And
when we talk about equality of education, what do you think is the big inequality between, say, a private school and a government school?
Actually, challenge before in us in government school, the students who are coming from the either MCD or from any other private government system, they don't read and write and don't have basic mathematics. So we have worked really on that. We prepared a bridge course to impart the basic learning aspect of languages, speaking, reading, writing and listening. And in mathematics, the basic emphasis was on numeracy. I mean addition, multiplication, division and subtraction. Then focus was on the rudimentary aspect of social sciences and everyday science. So these 4 aspects made actually tremendous difference in the quality. A school result in 6th class was just 11%, and within a span of 4 months, it changes increase up to 44%.
So it's really about dedication which can make the difference. Ms. Lata Vaidyanathan, when we talk about equality, which Anand Kumar eloquently summed up, and we've seen this focus which the Pratham report had brought out, how many even the poorest families want to send their children to private schools because there is a belief that if they learn English or if they go to a private school, they have a passport to a better future. That's the apartheid the government tried to perhaps demolish by introducing the quota in private schools. But private schools point out this is not the answer. Where do you think in bridging this divide, how do we create a more egalitarian society and an education which is excellence for all?
You know, we are talking of excellence in education. Personally, I am of the opinion that there is absolutely no harm in admitting these 25% children in our schools and making it a more heterogeneous structure, so that the sensitivity and what is required is there on both sides. It's not about, you know, getting these children in and making them fit for this. I think it is the larger private school sector to be fit for these other children as well. So that move is wonderful. I think there are other smaller issues which are about how else it could be done and how what more needs to be done, etc. But when we are talking of excellence, I think if the children have entry together, there is absolutely no reason why the private quality of education given to students should be any different anywhere else. But I think there is a whole issue of the generations of students that come into private schools as opposed to that who come into the government school system. Children are coming from varied backgrounds, so the homogeneity in a private school makes it slightly easier perhaps. But having said that, I think increasingly the focus is on exam results. We are talking of course it's important, it's very, very important for people to reach those minimum levels of learning, it's important to understand conceptual, there has to be a conceptual understanding of things, subjects, language, etc. But we also need to focus on other skills. Today if you look at the current government, it's talking about skill development. And the skills could be varied, and with technological intervention that's happening, I think we don't have to wait for the lily pond to be half full the next day. We just really need to wait and see how can we scale it up, how can we speed it up, and skill development receives the focus in private schools a little more because they have the wherewithal to do so. But there's another aspect. I think we need to look at the developmental nature of education in a more concrete way. We need to give equal importance to sports, we need to give equal importance to other curricular activities, the nature of global citizenry, the nature of what makes the person totally developed and representative of a truly national kid in an international scenario. So the kind of verticals that we are able to fast track in a private system because we are not waiting for too many sanctions and too many other logistic things which a school can move forward with.
Yes.
But all of this does not take away the fact that excellence can exist anywhere, as it was just shown, either in the government school system or even in a tuition center where there is complete commitment to the task. I think on Teachers' Day or around Teachers' Day, one of the things that teacher has to understand, that no matter what may have been the reasons for being in this profession, an absolute commitment and love for children rules supreme. If you have that, then I think excellence will not be spared.
I'm going to go across Professor Ashish Nanda, because we've talked so much on primary school and children under 18, but you're actually dealing with the outcome in a sense, because you're dealing with students who come into IIM Ahmedabad almost as coveted, I would say, as an IIT. So in your when you've come, your experience, sir, coming from Harvard Law School, coming to IIM Ahmedabad, and interesting, often when I've talked to the corporate India, I've had people sitting here, industrialists, who say that, you know, we have a problem because we have graduates who come out of IITs and IIMs and they're unemployable. We have to train them all over again. And on the other hand, we have this huge young population out there who say we can't get jobs. Why do you think there's such a mismatch between what our educational system seems to be providing to young people and what the real world wants?
Ms. Singh, before addressing your question, I want to actually salute the other people on the program. My mother was a school teacher, and I truly appreciate the work that teachers like Mr. Singh and Ms. Vaidyanathan and their colleagues do. And I've heard wonderful things that Mr. Chavan's organization and Mr. Anand Kumar's organization have done. So first, my salute goes to them. Now, your question is really, is the education being provided here not fitting with the requirements of organizations? And at least at the level of the IITs and IIMs, the empirical evidence is a little bit in the other direction. I'm an economist by training, and so I believe in what people call revealed preference. There are a lot of institutions that are actually looking for graduates of these institutes. So they must be probably doing something right in selection and then training. Now, of course, we could do better, and we always strive to do better, but I also take great pride in saying I'm the director of IIM Ahmedabad, but I'm a graduate of both an IIT and an IIM. I take great pride in saying that our graduates are comparable to the best from any institution anywhere in the world. And not only do their immediate placement show this, but also 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20 years later, the contributions they've made to society within India and internationally. I think we should all be proud of what they do. The question, of course, is the small number of people that go into IITs and IIMs, how can we make sure that there are many, many more such institutions providing high quality education, and how do we continue to make sure that this education is relevant? I can just point to basically a few challenges there. One is that while we have to have lots and lots of institutions of higher learning, you look at the demography of India, you look at the economy, you look at the culture which values education, you look at today's world being a knowledge economy where if you are really skilled and well trained, you have a wonderful set of opportunities. So given all that, clearly education is a priority. And India is a young country, and it's going to be a young country for years to come. So investment in education is critical. It has very significant positive returns for the individuals, for society as well. So we need to have many good, high-quality institutions of education at school level, but also at higher education level. But as we try to increase the number of schools, I refer to Dr. Chavan's statistics at school level. I think the same is true at college level. We have to ensure that as we grow more institutions, we ensure high quality. Otherwise, there's a risk of a race to the bottom where we might have large number of institutions, but quality is not high. So we have to increase access to good institutions while maintaining quality. And then the second thing, which a little bit the discussion between Mr. Singh and Ms. Vaidyanathan highlighted, are the two successive questions. while we have to make sure that we have democratization of education, we must also make sure that we have some of the best institutions that can compete with the best globally. Because these best institutions make sure that we remain in the flow of cutting edge knowledge creation, we remain role models, we become magnets for people within the country and even from outside over in the coming years. So I think these are two challenges, one of lots of institutions but maintaining quality, second ensuring democratization but making sure democratization also nurtures and builds elite institutions. And then of course there's the third piece, which is learning. The way people think of learning is going through tremendous changes. Technology is bringing in tremendous opportunities. You have MOOCs and such like where you can be sitting at home and learning. You have opportunity of thinking about lifelong learning increasingly. So the concept that you first learn, then you earn, and then you enjoy what you have earned, it kind of phases. It is changing. People learn all through different stages of their lives. And so having modular learning opportunities. So make sure that the institutions of education, including higher education, are flexible and take advantage of technology and make sure that they are addressing today's world. If we do that, actually I think India has tremendous potential and tremendous resources.
Dr. Chavan, come in on some of the points raised and the points which came up earlier, the issue which I touched on about we've seen the shift your survey has shown increasingly to private schools even amongst families which can't afford it.
Yeah, I think the point that he made, all the points are very relevant, but I'm particularly interested in the last part of it where the learning process is undergoing change. People are looking for answers, and I think our institutions are not providing those answers. I wouldn't say all private schools are good or what is this good. We need to define excellence also. What is excellence? So knowledge creation excellence, or creating knowledge is one thing, and disseminating knowledge and passing it on to the next generation and excellence in that are two separate things. So when you create institutions, the role of that institution and what it is going to do should be very, very clear. I think what's also happening is there's a contradiction between the past and the present. The institutions that we've created in the past are inaccessible. So while Anand Kumar can go and put a lot of people in IIT, now the number of IITs can increase, but the knowledge that exists in IITs is not accessible to everybody. That's where the MOOCs will come in. So my fundamental question is, why should there be an admission process in IITs? In a sense, physically being in the institution called IIT on the campus. There's a reason to be there. But why can't I just register in IIT and look at all the courses and learn on my own? Why can't we make this whole country officially Ekalavya country? Let me learn and you test me and see if I'm good enough or not. Why are you limiting the access? I think the fundamental issue of access, earlier when we started this Pratham work, access was starting schools. Now we know that that is not sufficient. It's not even a real precondition to learning. Learning will happen no matter what. It will happen outside the school. Our curriculum is hopelessly outdated. Nobody teaches you about cell phones. Nobody teaches you how the cell phones work. By the time you get to that curriculum, this whole technology will have changed. The rapidness of the changes that is happening today, our curriculum cannot even fathom. And as Shugata Mitra, the other well-known person in this, what he is saying is very, very clear. He is saying kids can learn on their own. And why do they have to mug up all the knowledge? It's available at the tip of the touch. You can go to Google. Searching is a capacity that they should have rather than mugging it up. So if you look at all this, I think the whole process of education is changing dramatically. I agree with him on that completely. And so we have to now look at the ways that you can make this excellence available freely with modular courses. So if I feel like learning something today, I should be able to go and do it. People do it all the time. They go to YouTube and then they will learn something. Lectures. So all kinds of things are possible. Now, making those possibilities come out as formal process, that's where the challenge is, because the institutions will not let go.